This is Pam from Wood Camper Crafts, and today I'm going to teach you how to add ribbing to your crochet projects. You can add ribbing to any project. It's great for hats, blankets, baby booties, you name it. So I've crocheted this rectangle to use as an example. It could be anything. This could be my hat or my baby blanket that I'm going to add ribbing to. So I'm at the end of the row and I'm going to turn. In this example, my ribbing is going to have 5 stitches per row. So I'm going to start by chaining 6. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and my last one here is 6. You can make it bigger if you want, but I'm just going to use this for an example. So you want to make sure that your chain is nice and flat. So I'm just going to move this out of the way and adjust it. So we're just going to be working down the chain all the way along here. So we're ready to get started. And if you look here, you can see there's my first chain and my second chain. The reason we chain 6 is because we're actually starting in that second chain from our hook and we're doing a single crochet. So there's 1, there's our first single crochet, and there's our next chain. Insert your hook and we're doing another single crochet. So there's 2, and find your next chain, and that's 3, a single crochet in the next chain, there's 4, and then our last one here. So there's our last chain, we're inserting our hook and we're doing a single crochet. So we're going to pause here for a moment. We're going to grab our stitch marker and we're going to put it on that last single crochet in our row. So I'm just going to pause here and show you the rectangle that I made. And if we count, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we have 10 stitches per row. So we have an even number. So because we have an even number, we want to start in that first stitch there. If you don't have an even number, you would start in the next stitch over. Since I have an even amount of stitches in my work, I'm going to start in that first stitch there. And I'm just doing a simple slip stitch. So insert your hook, yarn over, and pull through all the loops on your hook. And then we're going to work in the next stitch, and we're also going to do a slip stitch. So insert your hook, yarn over, and pull through all the loops on your hook. And now I'm going to just chain 1 and turn. So now we're going to work back up along our ribbing. So there's our stitch marker indicating the stitch we're starting in. But just in case, I'm going to show you how to identify where you're starting. So there's our chain 1, there's our slip stitch, there's our another slip stitch, and then that's the first stitch that you're starting in. So you skip that chain 1, you skip both slip stitches, and then you know where your first stitch is. So I've got my handy stitch marker, so I know exactly where I'm starting. And we're going to be doing single crochets working under the back loop only to create our ribbing effect. So insert your hook just under that single loop and you're just doing a single crochet. So there's 1, and we're going to stop, grab our stitch marker and place our stitch marker on that first stitch here. And then remember there's 5, so that was our first one, working under our back loop again. There's our second single crochet, and working under that back loop, there's 3, and 4, and our final one is 5. So we have 5 stitches in that row again. At the end, we are going to chain 1 and turn. So now we're working back down that ribbing. So find the first stitch there, which is right here. Insert your hook under the back loop, and you're just doing a single crochet. So there's one, and then insert your hook under the back loop. There's two, and insert your hook under the back loop. That's three, and four, and then we have our stitch marker here coming up to indicate our final stitch in the row, and we're inserting our hook under the back loop, and that's 5. So that's the final stitch in the row, and we're going to insert our stitch marker back on there. And then we're going to work along our original work again. So when you're looking at this, if you looked at it, you probably thought that's where your first slip stitch goes. But if you kind of hold up your work or hold up the ribbing, you can see that you've actually already worked in that stitch right there. So there's the stitch that you're going in. So if you get confused, we're not working in that one. You hold it up, you can see you've already worked in that one. So you're working in the next stitch there. So that's my little trick to figure out where your hook goes. So hold it up, you can see we've already gone in that one. So we're going to do a slip stitch in the next stitch. So there's one, and then working, we just went in that one, so we're going in this one here, and we're doing a slip stitch. So there's two, and then chain one and turn. So we don't need to count the slip stitches and the chain because we have the stitch marker, so we know where we're starting, and we're just doing a single crochet working under the back loop, and we're doing 5 of these. So that's 1, and I'm going to put my stitch marker back on there. I don't use stitch markers a lot, but when you're doing ribbing like this, I definitely recommend using stitch markers. So this is 2 and 3, 4, and our final one is 5. At the end of the row, we're going to chain 1 and turn. So identify your first stitch there, and if you forget or get lost, you can always count. So I can count down 5 to make sure I know where I'm starting. And I'm inserting my hook under the back loop, and I'm just doing a single crochet. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the stitch marker indicates my final stitch, which is 5. So working in that back loop only. Then I'm going to put my stitch marker back on my final stitch. Now I need to figure out where I'm going, so I'm going to hold up my work. Oh, I've already worked in that one, so I'm going in this stitch here. So insert your hook, and we're doing a slip stitch, that's 1. And we're working in the next stitch, we're doing a slip stitch, that's 2. And then chain 1 and turn. So I've got my stitch marker, I'm going to remove that. I'm doing a single crochet working under the back loop only. So there's my first stitch. I'm going to put my stitch marker on it. And I'm going to continue working the single crochets in the back loop only till I have 5 in total. So now you know how to do it. You can add ribbing to any project. In this video, I was doing the single crochet working in the back loop only, but there's other ribbing that you can do as well. I really like using slip stitches working in the front loop or slip stitches working in the back loop. I am going to be posting some videos really soon showing you all different types of ribbing, so you can check those out. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit that like button. And if you'd like to see more stitch tutorials or free pattern tutorials, check out my channel.